Since I was born up to when I was around 18, I could see and feel things that no one else around me would. My parents discovered I had this weird power of sensing things that they couldn't, but knew that I was right. They tried to force me into believing that the things I saw or sensed were just my imagination. We lived in my aunt's house for a few months when I was around 7 years old. Our room door, which didn't actually have a door, but the space where the door would go, was across from my aunt's room door, and I could see my aunt's bed, where she was sleeping with her husband, from my bed, where I was sleeping with my parents. It was about 2 a.m. when I started hearing a noise that sounded like an airplane that was going to land, because it kept getting louder and closer. I woke up my parents because that noise was getting too loud, and they said they don't hear it, and they don't hear anything, and got upset at me for waking them up. So they moved their heads to where their feet were, and told me not to wake them up again. At that point, I got really scared because I could hear this really loud noise, and all I can hug is my parents' feet. Suddenly, a bright light lightens up my aunt's bedroom, but the light would only light their bedroom. It would not light any other part of the house. I could hear the airplane hovering outside my aunt's bedroom. We lived on a 2-floor building. Scared of the situation, and scared to wake up my parents, I decided to close my eyes. Next thing I see when I open my eyes is this white transparent person shape kind of thing that walks to my aunt and sits on the edge of her bed, waking her up, but not to her husband. She then sits up on the bed and they start having a conversation. I could hear them talking, but I couldn't hear what they were saying clearly. After a few minutes, the thing walked to the window, which had iron bars for security, and walked right through it. My aunt went back to sleep, the lights from outside turned off, and the hovering airplane noise started sounding like it was going away. The next day, while we were all having lunch, my aunt mentioned that Anthony, her brother, or my uncle, the one that I was named after and died of a brain tumor when I was a year old, came to visit her one last time to tell her that he will not visit her anymore because he was going on a very long journey. I grew up in rural Scotland in the 80s and 90s. I think 50 kids total in my entire primary school, rural. There were only 4 kids in my year, one being me, so only 3 classmates. I was told that before we moved into the house I grew up in, the previous owner died of old age in our living room, and they lived in my bedroom before that. There was some kind of raised wooden floor built for them to live or die on, with a bed that was taken out when we got there. A few events that followed. I don't remember this, but my mom claims she couldn't find me when I was a toddler, and later found me in a closed drawer in my room. We have no idea how I got in there, and no idea how it was closed. I have a distant memory of seeing a dog-like ghost running in place in broad daylight in our living room. My mom had me hide behind the couch with her, suddenly, because the coal man was here to collect money we owed him. We were extremely poor and had a coal fire to keep us warm in winter, but I didn't know why we were hiding at first. I peeked into the living room from behind the couch and saw what was like a standing shadow but it was made out of light running on the spot in front of the fireplace. It was like a dog running really quickly, but it was running in place and suddenly switched side to side every few seconds, like it's glitching out. I thought that was why my mom had me hide behind the couch. I got scared and stopped looking into the living room, hiding behind the couch fully. It stuck with me like WTF was that moment, but seeing that I was barely in primary school back then, I can't really give any weight as paranormal evidence to myself. My room had a lot of things fall over that shouldn't, and never with anyone there to do it. Every now and then, we'd hear a loud bang come from upstairs in my room while we were all downstairs, like something had fallen over. It was usually small things like books, games, and etc., but I had a mirror smash from falling on the floor. The worst thing was my entire wardrobe fell over and broke my bed. The wardrobe was really big and really heavy and shouldn't have been able to fall forward on its own like that. That scared the hell out of me from the boom alone. At that time, I thought that we had a robber up there. A few family members told me that they thought I was in my room and were surprised to see me because they saw my door in the later stage of closing as they walked by, as though someone had gone in there and had been closing the door behind them, and a family member saw the last seconds of the door moving to a close. I never witnessed this, but it was unsettling to hear about. I remember that when us kids were left in the house alone, which happened fairly often, we'd hear very audible footsteps and banging coming from the rooms upstairs. But it usually came from my bedroom. I had sleep paralysis a lot when I lived there. I'd scream really loud and freak everyone out. Typical sleep paralysis episodes include, I think I'm awake, but I can't move, and it's like something evil is in the room with me, with the intent to kill me, and I have to fight it off, or I'll die. If you've never had one of these, you are lucky. Every now and then, a really, really loud bang would wake me up, as though someone had wrapped their knuckles on something wooden near my head with a lot of force. This has followed me everywhere since, but doesn't happen as often. It might be exploding head syndrome, but it's still not a nice way to wake up. My stepdad and mom both had the same dream that they were abducted by a UFO. My stepdad was telling my mom about this crazy dream he had, that a UFO came and the roof went see-through, and he was taken aboard. My mom went pale and said that she had the exact same dream. My younger sisters shared a room and were both freaked out and said that when they'd woken up, their blankets were on the floor and they thought it was ghosts. I didn't have a UFO dream or wake up with my blankets off of me, so I guess my haunted bedroom saved me that night. When I was little, I had one of those Minnie Mouse plushies, with a cute costume and a big open-mouthed grin. I even had a studio portrait taken with it that turned out beautifully. Well, I woke up one morning and was just lying in my bed, looking over the edge of my bed at my toys scattered on the ground. All of a sudden, as I was looking at my mini doll, it started talking. It made almost a hissing noise, Then it started whispering my name. Frozen, I watched as the doll's open mouth slowly shut. I ran out of my room as fast as my little feet would carry me. My parents dismissed it as my imagination until I showed them the doll's permanently closed mouth. We went back and looked at the studio portrait. That doll's mouth had been open. It would not come apart now, no matter how hard we pulled it. I don't know what happened. Maybe I'll never know. But I didn't touch that doll ever again. It wasn't as friendly looking with a closed mouth. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to thank you guys for sticking with me and watching my videos. It takes a lot of time to make, but every time I post a video, you guys watch it. I'm so grateful that I have you guys as subscribers. So, thank you, truly.